guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, the Bright Side Girl, and today we're doing my September reading wrap-up. I was going to do a separate September reading wrap-up and then a Not So Scary-a-thon wrap-up, but I only read like, I think 3 or 4 books in the beginning of September before we started Not So Scary-a-thon, which was my last readathon that we did. So I think I'm just going to do a traditional September readathon, talk about the books I read before Not So Scary, and then the ones during through September, and then I'll talk about the second half of the Not So Scary books in October. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so first up we've got a couple non-Halloween fall reads for the beginning of September that I just kind of had to get to. So first up, I read The Mermaid of Venice by Jinsey Lumpkin. This was kindly sent to me by the author for an honest review. This is a mermaid book, you can tell. It is about a serial killer mermaid that resides in Venice. And she kills men and she's very glamorous and no one knows she's a mermaid. It kind of reminds me of like Miranda from Sex and the City if she were like a mermaid and also a killer. It doesn't have a lot of the serial killer aspect as I was expecting, but she does like hunt and kind of kill men occasionally. But there's a lot of romance in here. There is a lot of mystery. The back half of the book talks quite a lot about the mermaid lore, which was really cool. I really like that. So it's making me excited for book 2. It's probably one of my most favorite books that I've read that is self-published. I think it's self-published. I just really enjoyed it. It is adult. It does have a little bit of adult sexy content in here, but I really liked it overall, and I feel like if you like mermaid and just a good kind of minor thriller, I would definitely check it out. So, and it's got a really cool cover. I'm excited to read the next one. So I gave this one just under 4 stars, like 3.85. And I read Undercurrent by Trisha Rayborn. This is the second in a mermaid trilogy. The first book being Siren, which I reread last month and I talked about in my August wrap-up, or maybe my July. I'm physically reading these because I can't get a hold of the audiobooks, but that's okay. I love this series. I didn't know this was going to be perfect for fall because this book is set in autumn and they're like carving pumpkins and making like muffins, and it's got a little bit of like almost witchy vibes to it and like dark and mysterious. There's a mystery, there's some murders. It's such a great series. I'm so in love. I loved book 1 and I really enjoyed book 2, so I gave this one 4 stars. Book 1 is a 5-star for me, but partially for nostalgia reasons, and I'm really excited to wrap up this series sometime soon because it's fabulous. Then I listened to Defy the Fates on audiobook. The narrators will be listed right here. So this is the 3rd book in the Defy the Stars trilogy by Claudia Gray, who I just love Claudia's writing style. I plan on listening to another one of her book series here soon. This is a sci-fi, almost Romeo and Juliet love story, dystopian adventure. There's an AI, a highly intelligent artificial boy. There is a feisty like rebel girl, and they kind of meet up and they have to try and kind of like save the world together. It is so good. There's spaceships and like all kinds of good sci-fi goodness in here. The whole trilogy is 5 stars for me, and I gave this last book 4 stars and I really loved it. Doing good on wrapping up some series, so I read The Glamorous via audiobook by Luann G. Smith. This is the 2nd in a witchy series. So this one is following a different main character, but our other characters from the first book are still in here, so I would still recommend reading them in order even though they kind of have separate stories. I really enjoyed this one. The first book in the series is A Vine Witch, and it was all about like a witch that helps a vineyard grow really good wine, but it has a mystery, and you learn about like the magical politics, and there's some romance, and it was so good. So this one kind of follows where that left off, following a new character, a different kind of witch, and they kind of meet up. There's lots of mystery, more romance, and it was just really good. I don't want to give anything away. These are so atmospheric. They're so fun. They're perfect for fall. I think they're adult, but they didn't have anything like inappropriate in them so far as like sexual content or language or anything. I really, really love them, and I wound up giving this one 4 stars also. Okay, so now we start my Not So Scary-a-thon reads. So the first book that I picked up, and I think all of these but one were on audio, was The House with a Clock in Its Walls by John Belair's. I wanted to start with this one because it was only a 4-hour audiobook and I listened at a faster speed, so it took me like just over 2 hours. Also, I wanted to watch the movie for this, which we did watch and I will talk about in a different video. But this is a middle grade book. It is perfect for Halloween. It's about a young boy whose parents have died and he goes to live with his uncle in this mysterious house, and he has this mysterious neighbor, and then he hears like ticking in the walls and things start moving around him, and all this mystery starts happening around his uncle, and he kind of has to solve what's going on with the house and his uncle and the neighbor and all that kind of stuff. It's set around Halloween time. There are so many like good Halloween references in here. It is so good. I love middle grade books for Halloween. So if you're looking for something to read on Halloween day that you can read really fast, I definitely recommend this one. It does have like slightly more spooky things than I was expecting. So if you're planning on reading it to like a middle grader, just kind of keep that in mind if they're sensitive. But I really loved it and I wound up giving it around 4 stars. Then I read Queen of Hearts by Colleen Oakes. This was for the prompt a villainous backstory, so it's not necessarily fall or Halloweenish, but it is the backstory on the evil queen from Snow White, which I particularly love. I love Heartless from Marissa Meyer. That's one of my favorite villain backstories ever. So this one is part of a trilogy, which is really cool because I feel like most of our villain retellings are only like a standalone book. So I'm so excited to see where the rest of these go. I really enjoyed it. I love all the Alice in Wonderland references and how everything was kind of changed but still felt familiar. If you love Alice in Wonderland, I highly recommend this one. I think I wound up giving it like again a 3.5, 3.75, but I am excited to read the rest of the books in the series. Then I physically read The Ghost Girl by Tanya Hurley. This one's just been on my list for a little bit because it's such a pretty book. It has like sprayed edges and like illustrations and just kind of a cool format. It's a very short read. This is about a young girl in high school and she just wants to be popular so bad and nobody notices her, and then one day she dies and she kind of has to learn her reason for not moving on, but also in that she decides to become popular in death through the school. It's a whole thing. Cheesy, over the top, ridiculous, very, very YA, like younger YA. But I thought it was fine and I thought it was fun. If you like a good high school, like kind of Mean Girls vibe, I would check it out. It's still got those fall vibes because she's a ghost and all that kind of stuff. About a 3.5 star for me, but I'm really glad I read it and I will definitely read the next one. Then I can't find my copy, but I finally read The Raven Boys on audiobook. This is probably now my most popular series that I own that I hadn't read yet. So I'm really excited that I got to this first book. Super atmospheric, following our main character, Blue, whose parents are psychics and they can predict the future, and like they have all different kinds of supernatural type gifts, and they basically predict that her first true love will die if they kiss. And so she kind of always has that in the back of her mind, and she's becoming a teenager and getting romantic feelings for people, but she's always scared that she's gonna like accidentally kill someone, so she doesn't do anything about it. That's just the beginning of the plot. I know throughout the series it changes dramatically. There's a lot of other subplots in here. There are 4 boys, I call the Raven Boys, and they have a lot of mysterious things about them that you learn along the way, and they kind of meet up with Blue and her family, and then they have a mission to solve a mystery, and it was really good, really atmospheric, really magical, and I wasn't obsessed with it like I wanted to be, but it was a good solid 4-star book, and I think as I continue to read the rest I'll enjoy them more and more, so I'm excited to check out the rest of the series. And then the last book that I read for the month of September is The Lanterns Ember by Colleen Hook. This was our unofficial read for the Not So Scary-a-thon readathon that I hosted, and I'm so glad I picked this one. It was the perfect Halloween read. So we're following our main character Ember, who has a secret that she is a witch. She is drawn to this magical bridge in her town of Hallowell, and she doesn't know that this bridge leads to an other world and it is guarded by Jack, who is the watchman of the bridge. This is excellent. It has the boogeyman, vampires, a pumpkin-headed creature, a witch. All of the Halloween fall goodness that you could want is in this book. My only thing that kept it from being a 5-star is that there was so much crammed in here. I felt like it could have been 2 books or a series, especially at the end. It took some wild turns that I wasn't expecting, which was good, but I feel like there was a lot of detail thrown in at the very end, but I really loved it. There was like dark pirates in here and a like ship in the sky. Super, super good. Really enjoyed this. A lot of you read this for the readathon and it was like your favorite read of the readathon. It was mine as well. So glad I picked this up finally, and it's a standalone for fall, which is always awesome, and it's not super long, and our narrator for this one was incredible. So highly recommend. This was about a 4.5 star. Okay, you guys, so those are all of the things that I read for the month of September. I read some really great things. I didn't read anything that I hated or strongly disliked. Things are going really good here in October as well. So let me know what your favorite read was from September down below in the comments and what you're currently reading. Are you into all the fall Halloween vibes? I'm like into it really hardcore, but I'm not like into the super gory, scary things. I just like atmospheric and kind of spooky. Witchy and vampire-y, that's kind of my jam. Let me know how your spooky season is going down below in the comments, and I'll see you next time on the bright side. Bye!